What's up, everyone? So today I will be going over the Counterstrain points for COMLEX. They're super difficult to memorize, so it kind of helped me to just write this down when I got in there during the tutorial. So hopefully it helps you as well. So to start off, I always just put anterior first over here, and then put posterior over here. Next, going to just go ahead and draw a figure. So there's the neck, here's the arms, and then we'll draw the torso, and then here's the ASIS, and we'll do the same thing on the side of the posterior. So here's the arms, and then we'll draw the torso. We'll make it a little bit longer than the other side. Alright, so next we're just going to go ahead and put some labels in the middle here. So here's our cervical spine, here's our thoracic spine, and then here is the lumbar spine. So now we're just going to go ahead and make a few lines. So first we'll start off in the thoracic and just draw a line straight down. And then we'll put a line right here in the cervical, and then we'll go down to about T6 and make a line all the way down here. And then we'll go ahead and put a few dots. So we'll put a dot here, then we'll make a little triangle here, and then our last point will be right there. So then we'll go ahead and go over here to the posterior side as well. Just draw a line straight down in the thoracic spine, and then we'll draw another line that goes cervical and thoracic, and then also another line here. So just do a little bit of labeling now. Here's our midline and our anterior thoracic, and then all of these are going to be lateral, and then we have AL1, AL2, AL3, AL4, and AL5. And then we'll do the same thing, so these will be our midline thoracic points, and then we'll have our inferolateral transverse process points and our posterolateral transverse process points on the posterior side. So now I'm just going to go ahead and go in and label some of these. So if you remember, all of the anterior points that aren't maverick points are flexion. So we'll go ahead and start off by putting an F, an F, 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 F here, and then an F here. So then next, just going to go ahead and fill the rest of them in. So at the top, I always start with Sarah, and then go down here to the bottom and also put Sarah. We'll go ahead and keep this point at just flexion, and then we'll go ahead and make this one straw, and we'll do the same thing here, straw, and then for this point we'll just go ahead and make it sart. So those are all of our anterior points. We'll go ahead and go over here to the posterior, and the posterior are all going to be extend. So we'll put an E, E, and then in the lumbar we'll also put an E. So for this midline, we'll just go ahead and keep it at extension. For the inferolateral transverse processes, we'll go ahead and make this one Sarah, and then we'll also go ahead and put Sarah here. Now the important distinction about these posterolateral points are at C8 it will switch, so we'll go ahead and do C8 above, and then C8 below. So this is kind of the cutoff I put here, and then we'll go ahead and make that E sart. So everything C8 above is E Sarah, and everything below C8 in the posterolateral process is going to be E sart. And then down here, I'll go ahead and make this one straw. Alright, so now then we have to add in some of the maverick points. These you kind of just have to remember, so we'll go ahead and put C1 and C7, and then for the posterior we'll put C1 and C3. So we'll start off with C1 and put rotate away, and then C7 is going to be F straw, and then C1 is going to be F straw here, and then C3 is F Sarah. Okay, so that gives us almost all of our points for cervical, thoracic, and lumbar spine. Now we'll go ahead and add in our rib counterstrain points. So to do this, I just draw little hands over here, and then we'll also go and draw a hand here, and we'll have anterior person holding a rib, and posterior also holding a rib here. So to remember this, it is on the anterior side, so it's going to be flexed, and then where do we go to get ribs? We have to go to the street vendor, so we'll put street. And then for posterior is a little bit different because there is that odd point. So we have the posterior rib 1, and I always remember posterior, so we'll put the E first, and it's going to be E Sart, and then the rest of them are going to be F Sarah. So that gives us all of our cervical, thoracic, lumbar spine, and also our ribs. And now there's just a few more that were always difficult for me to remember, so this was a little trick that helped me. So I just draw another C here, and then a C here, and then we'll go ahead and put 5 points on this. 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Then we'll just go ahead and do some labeling. So we have the psoas, we have the iliacus, we have the low ilium, pectineus, and LP5, the lower pole 5. And then over here we'll have L3, L4, Psi, Hypho, and UP5, upper pole 5. All right. So to remember the order of this now, psoas is always first. So we'll go ahead and write first, and then as we move this way, we're going to drop the ending. So we'll have F-E-R, F, and then just remember these last two are fadir. All right. Then we'll go ahead and move over to the posterior side. I always remember this L3 here, so we'll start with extend, abduct, and externally rotate, and there's 3 of them, so the first 3 are going to be the same thing. And then similar to over on this side where we have the pectineus at F-A-D-I-R, this is on the posterior, so we're just going to change the F to an E. And we have extend, adduct, and internal rotate, and then we're just going to drop the ending of the IR here for this last one. And then the last point to remember is the piriformis, which is on the posterior, and that is a little bit different than the other ones. It's flexion, so kind of just have another one we have to remember as Faber. So yeah, those are all the points, and so this can be helpful just drawing it out in the first few minutes of the tutorial, so hopefully it helps. Thanks.